This is me building a $2 million a year business in public. Last month I made 139 grand, and next month I want to hit 167. This is a day-by-day breakdown of how I'm doing it, starting with some questions and answers. Anybody that wants a question of theirs answered on this page, just leave a comment down any one of my daily updates videos and I'll eventually do it. But this is me giving value back to viewers, and I consider it one of the most important parts of this. The second is growth stats. So I want to show you guys what real growth in a business owner making my level of profit really looks like behind the scenes. And then we're going to cover some live strategy where I solve some problem, or I talk through some of my strategy. Maybe I do a little bit of work in front of you. This is my main channel. We're at 63,665 current subscribers. This right over here is my daily updates channel. And I was just answering a question here. Then I realized that OBS wasn't set up, so let's just re-answer it. The lovely Takizo6542 with the lovely Itachi Uchiha profile pic says, "Love the insight." Just starting an automation agency with a friend. I already built a lead management system and also took some of your templates. Just need to set up the daily sales process. Might take a day or two. I'm still confused about how one chooses a niche. Also, are you looking for a designer? I'd be happy to help. Take it as a token of appreciation. No, I'm all good on the design front. I'm also just all good on like the team front for now. I really do appreciate it. And I'm sure you have an eye for design. It's not as funny the second time around. Bedivere Joseph Abbey says, choose a niche that you are the FF and 15 interested in so that you won't get burnt out, familiar or involved in, leveraging your existing network, and keeping up to date with news, etc. So you'll be at the top of the trend when their industry changes. That way you'll understand their needs more, speak the same language, so you'll offer them the product services they need, and it's easier to communicate with because you don't have to explain terminology to them all the time. Takiza then says, solid advice, thanks a lot. Listen, I feel you. Ideally, you would pick a niche that you are interested in, okay, that you're familiar with, and that leverages your pre-existing network. But the most important actual thing about the niche is, do the people in the niche have money, and are they suffering from problems that you can actually solve? I totally get the idea about wanting to work in a niche that you have past experience in. But I mean, take it from me. I've joined a ton of niches and I've crushed it in a ton of niches that I had zero prior experience in. I just identified what I would consider to be a high ROI opportunity. And then I just, butted my way in there through whatever means necessary. So, like if you kind of follow your heart with this stuff, your heart won't always lead you to the highest ROI opportunity, I guess. And my strategy for picking niches is very simple. I just pick a lot of them. I try and solve a lot of problems based off my intuition. And my intuition is wrong most of the time, but eventually one of these niches that I've picked will work. And then I basically just like narrow down and put all my eggs in that basket and just like, attack the niche that works. This might take the place over, I don't know, like a month-long testing period where you're sending cold emails with 10 different offers to, 10 different groups and just comparing and mixing and matching. Might be, you don't even pick a niche and you just try and get out there and close as many deals as possible on a platform like Upwork. And then 3 months down the line, you realize, a lot of my highest paying jobs were XYZ niche where I delivered XYZ product. Why don't I just try selling that? There are a variety of ways to get there, but that is more or less my own, viewpoint on that. So hopefully that helps. That's my viewpoint on that. Okay. Francisco says, I'm going to be canceled. I've partnered with a lawyer at a local law firm to develop automation software addressing a pain point, consuming 15% of employee time. Wow, that sounds like a massive pain point. Our solution launches in April. We're starting locally, which I take it to mean is locally like that law firm. And then what would be the most effective strategy to scale from our local implementation is serving the entire law firm's network of hundreds of offices throughout Europe. Wow, that's some big potential upside. So I'm imagining this is like, this is like owned by a big partnership or something, it's maybe like, or not franchise, but whatever you call it when all legal offices have like a bunch of locations. I think there's a term for it and it's not coming to mind. Yeah, well, I think probably the straightest line path here would just be, you need to crush it for this network. Don't like put the cart before the horse. You have an in, right? And so the best way to take advantage of that in is over delivering, making sure that like your service operates as seamlessly as possible. When I see that much potential ROI, like maybe you're working with a private equity dude or, some network that operates like a portfolio of companies. And if the thing works with the first company, they'll spread it out and sell it to all the rest of the companies as well. Like that's a situation where it makes sense to get your product right. That's a situation where it makes sense to spend a little bit of time and just ensure that whatever you're building for client number one is as good as humanly possible, just because of the potential upside. So yeah, I would, strategically, I would run some sort of like 1 to 3 month, period. I don't know if I'd call it a trial. I'm sure you could find a better way to pitch it than a trial, but I'd run a 1 to 3 month period. I would let the local firm and then also the head office of said firms, know that like, your intention is You're going to roll it out at this firm. Once you see some massive return on investment, you're going to, or you'd like to, position it with other firms. And then, you basically like, the goal here is not like seeming like a big idea guy in my experience. The goal is like being very incremental and then showing that it works at location A, and then taking the thing that works at location A, implementing it in location B, C, and D. Once you've done those three, then you do 10. Once you do 10, you do 50. Once you do 50, you do, 250. I've never had a deal that large, just to be abundantly clear. But from my experience, that's what business owners tend to care about. So yeah, I would definitely make sure you nail it as much as humanly possible. And yeah, consuming 15% of employee time, like maybe that's your theoretical basis for building this thing, but like show that it actually reduces 15% or more of employee time. Like show an uptick in the revenue of the business that you're implementing it in, and then, better margins as well. Easy AI Flow _automation says, hey, Nick, give insights about knowing platform verification, like Twilio, A2P verification. Also give how you approach whenever you need to verify completely new systems for the first time. Right now I'm using ChatGPT and YouTube as a reference. What's your take on that? Thanks in advance for replying. Smiley face, smiley face. Smiley face to you, my friend. Yeah, happy to do so. So, I mean, for, Twilio A2P verification is pretty simple. Essentially, you just need to make sure that you have and listen, go and like just look up A2P verification guidelines. Twilio will walk you through this. Okay, they have a page set up where I took a few of my clients through the process. But essentially, the biggest thing is you just need some sort of disclaimer showing on your form that you are opting them in to SMS text messaging and that data rates may apply and stuff. Kind of sneakily, and I'm not a lawyer and this isn't legal advice, but you can certainly have that disclaimer on when you submit the A2P verification. And if somebody comes in and checks and, verifies and says you're good to go, you could remove it or you could change the wording or terminology slightly. Because, having a disclaimer at the bottom of every form saying like, by filling this form out, you are agreeing that we will send you text messages and data rates may apply. Like stuff like that does definitely impact conversion rates. But it's no longer the wild, wild west of SMS opt-in messaging, right? So you got to deal with that. But yeah, that's my approach. So just make sure you got disclaimers. I just go directly on Twilio. Basically right over here, if you want to run A2P campaign, you just need to fill out all of this. So make sure you have a good privacy policy in your website. Make sure you have a TOC terms and conditions. There are a bunch of templates for this. Just look up A2P templates. Make sure you name the organization, and I think it needs to be a company. So make sure you have Inc. in the company name. And then, you need to you need to list all this stuff essentially if you're going to fill out an A2P thing and get verified. GHL does it really quickly and easily for you. So does a couple of these other business. I think Keep even does this now. I don't even know. I'm not entirely sure about that. So fact check me. But yeah, A2P usually isn't a very big deal, just to be clear. And then they need to verify. When you say verify a completely new system first time, are you referring to A2P again? If so, I'm not going to double up on that. But if by new system you mean credentials or authorization or something like that, then that's a different story. My approach when I need to verify a customer's credentials or, authorization, get authorization to use their Google account or something like that, it's pretty simple. I just invite them to a kickoff call with me the second that I've received some sort of payment. That kickoff call is usually 25 to maybe 30 minutes. In that kickoff call, I cover timelines, scope, I do expectations, and then I also get the customer to sign up to the platforms that I need in front of me. Or if they're already signed up to a few of these platforms, I have them sign in. We do whatever two-factor authentication right there because I can literally answer them right now. Hey, okay, awesome, you signed up, perfect. What's the code? Okay, awesome, you just got a text message, perfect, here we go. Awesome, I'm signed in, I have everything I need, thank you very much. So it's a little bit more laborious than, it's a little bit more laborious than most people think. But I find if you just front load all that friction with the customer, 2FA auth and all that stuff, it eliminates so many problems down the line. So highly recommend. Urban Sombrero Collector. Man, I love that pick. Seinfeld was a gem. I started jogging on a treadmill instead of outside so I can watch these videos. Best content in the industry. Thank you. It'd be amazing if you go in a bit deeper about your clientele. How many clients are you managing? What do they pay on average turn rates? Right now, in terms of recurring, I have 3. I make between $20,000 to $25,000 a month off of these clients. One of them has a revenue share and the other 2 are flat. Churn rates, the last time somebody churned was because I asked them to churn because I just wanted some more time available so that I could, double down on coaching and stuff. But yeah, I think probably because I've already leaked a bunch of email addresses and company names throughout my videos, I'm probably just going to leave it there. But Yeah, if you want, check out leftclick.ai and scroll down to the bottom, and you'll get an idea as to some of my pricing. These are increased. Previously, I was charged $6,900 a month for this fractional COO sort of offer. Now, it's going to be $12,300 a month. We'll see how it works. I didn't like science this pricing. I'm just going to try it, see how it goes, and then if 99% of people say no, I'm going to revisit. But yeah, that's more or less going to be the strat. Ahmad Safin says, I swap my Netflix and movie binges with your channels. Your videos are so chill and conversational that it legit feels like you're talking straight to me. I am, actually. Yeah, I'm the voice in your head, man. By the way, are you thinking about dropping some vlogs on this channel too? Also, do you think every entrepreneur needs to document their journey publicly, or should they just focus on building and chasing that cash flow? Like you're out here building a $2 million business in public. Much love, man. P.S. Thanks for shouting out my LinkedIn email thing in your last video. It was my first time connecting with a YouTuber. Sent me a lot. Hell yeah. I remember you. I remember. No, I'm not thinking about dropping vlogs on this channel. Just be too much work, man. Too much work. I don't want to edit any of this stuff. Like, dude, this is so straightforward for me. I just click record on OBS. It's connected to my camera. Then when I'm done, I have the file. Then I just upload it to my little audio post-processing library, and then it just goes directly to YouTube. Like I spend no additional time. But if I were trying to do a vlog or something, man, how much time and energy would that take, right? I have to start like clipping things together. I'd have to then I have to deal with export times, which I hate because that just fucking throws a wrench in everything. Yeah. And then do I think every entrepreneur needs to document their journey publicly? No, I don't. In fact, I highly recommend against documenting your journey publicly for the first, I don't know, $15,000 or $20,000 a month. The only point at which it makes sense to start talking about this stuff, I think, is when you have some credibility. When you have some reason why people would pay attention and want to hear your journey more than anybody else's. Because I'll be real, there's a lot of people documenting their journey, but their journeys kind of suck. Like they're not actually going anywhere. They're not actually like making any money or progressing meaningfully because they don't have the strategy or like the business development experience, right? So you basically need to prove to people that you have that business development experience by developing a business. And then once you have some sort of company, then you can take it to market and say, hey, this is me building a company day by day, kind of like what I'm doing here. Maybe a little bit more structured. I don't know. But yeah, like I didn't start my YouTube until I was consistently hitting, 40, 50, 60, $72,000 months with my business. And then I also had another business that I had scaled to 92K a month. Like I didn't start documenting or talking about any of this stuff. And the reason why is because like I would rather just kill two birds with one stone. Like when I started talking about this stuff, my growth rate was like this, whereas a lot of other people that didn't have that experience, their growth rates were like this, right? And it's just because I cut through the noise. I had a lot more signal. And obviously when somebody that has done something that you want to do talks about doing that thing, they're just a lot more inherently interesting and inherently sticky. So I would just kill two birds with one stone, spend 100% of your time building a business, and that will actually make it easier for you to build a brand later on. Hopefully that helps. Giabo9611 says, hey, Nick, you once said business skills is greater than technical skills. Why do you have that opinion? I hope you can give advice on where to learn business skills. You learn business skills right here. You definitely do not learn that in a classroom these days. Why do I have that opinion? Just because the bar for being able to like produce something technically is plummeting, right? Like you, as somebody that has very little experience with any sort of technical system, I'd imagine, can like jump into Lovable or Bolt or something like pretty quickly. And like you can actually like build something that previously might have taken like a team of programmers, like, several weeks to build. And is it going to be perfect? No, it's going to be pretty spaghetti, the back end to be real, but customers don't really care about that. They only care about like the end result, right? Whether it works or not. And knowing that is in and of itself a business skill. Hopefully I'm not assuming anything here. Maybe you are like some super crazy gifted Kung Fu programmer. And if so, all good. But yeah, like I highly recommend that you just focus on business skills moving forward. What are some foundational business skills? Identifying problems. To be honest, business skills are basically like effectiveness skills. Like if you are good at business, you're probably just a very effective person because the economy is just, being able to succeed in our wider economy. It's quite pragmatic, I think. Like, it's all about like applying yourself directly to points of highest leverage. And like, that's a business skill, but it's also just a great life skill. Like if you're good at building a business, you're probably also going to be good at, I don't know, building a body, competing in sports, doing well in relationships. I know a lot of people are probably like, doing well in relationships, if you're a business person, what the hell? But it just requires a certain level of effectiveness and pragmatism that, I think works outside of that. So yeah, I mean, there's a couple great places. I definitely recommend this book called The Goal. process of ongoing improvement by Eli Golder. I've talked a lot about, and actually I think a bunch of these comments are about that, or a couple of them are anyway, if I scroll up. So check out the next few days when I answer the questions related to that. I'd also recommend Farnham Street. It's basically a website all about effective thinking. So how to think as effectively as possible, and ultimately like how to solve problems as effectively as possible. They have since turned this website into basically a book or a series of books. And they have very annoying top banners, which is unfortunate. But they basically turned this into a series of books with the best concepts across a variety of domains. So physics, chemistry, and biology, there are certain topics there in that make you a more effective thinker. That's why a lot of physicists and engineers end up building great companies, just because they know things like first principles thinking. They understand things like leverage intuitively, right? So yeah, I'll just, I'll give you these two websites, and I'll give you these two resources, and hopefully you can make a massive, fantastic business with all of that knowledge. Okay, Nicholas Aronis, hello fellow Nick, says, just join your school group. I feel like you already asked me this question, right? Just join your group, already put in the work in. I'm curious, with how quickly the space is evolving and not knowing how long ago you launched, are there any changes, additions, or updates we newbies should be considering that maybe wasn't needed or relevant at the time of launch? Thanks, sir. No, I update Maker School usually within like a week or so if there's some massive industry disrupting change. I've only really had to do it once, and I've only had to do it for like a couple of videos, but yeah. I make sure Maker School's up to date. Okay, Melvin Risley says, hey Nick, quick question. How should I structure monthly retainer of the systems I built run on their N8N? I can't host in my own N8N since it would require their credentials in my account to log in. Wouldn't that be a security concern? So there are 3, I think, questions here. How should I structure a monthly retainer if the systems I built run on their N8N? And I don't really think this matters, right? Because that doesn't really impact your pricing. I can't host it on my own N8N. So can I host it on my own N8N? And then, is requiring their credentials in my account to log in a security concern? So I'm going to answer them backwards. Is requiring their credentials in my account to log in a security concern? Yeah, for sure. It's a security concern for them. Yeah. Is it a big security concern? Like, no, but like, is it a security concern? Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, somebody's giving you authorization. They're giving you their API keys or whatever. In my case, they literally give me their email and their password, right? But also that is kind of what you just have to do if you want to automate things, under somebody else's account. Like, how am I going to send email addresses as Peter Wick, owner of blah, blah, blah company, if I don't have access to Peter Wick's email? Like, kind of a moot point. So it is a security concern for sure. Don't let anybody tell you that it's not. But in practice, do most people care as long as you're upfront and straightforward? Well, like, in order for me to send emails as you, I'm going to need access to your email address. Hopefully that's fine. No, not really. Not really. Second question, how should I structure should I host it on my own N8N? Should I host it on theirs? My recommendation is just to host it on their N8N all the time, 100%, because then it's just easy to hand off. When I say host it on their N8N, what I mean is, sorry, I'm just gonna move my window up a bit. It's going all over the place. What I mean is, I just recommend you set up an account for the client, like I was talking about earlier, and like have the client do it. And then the client owns the account. And then if, God forbid, you guys don't want to work together at some point in the future, you just hand off the account, problem solved. You don't need to do anything. If the systems are all on yours, like, what are you going to do when you want to hand it off, right? It's a pain in the ass. Nobody really thinks about that. You have to like make a handoff doc. You have to like do some training. It's just a bunch of extra work, man. I would just avoid it. Do you lose a little bit of leverage doing this? Yeah, for sure. Like, ideally, everything would be entirely on you, and then like they'd feel scared to leave you because you would just like shut down their whole company. But I'm not an evil person. I prefer to lead with value, and I also think that like that has reputational impacts that aren't directly or immediately noticeable, probably long term though. Okay, and then finally, the last one is, how should I structure a monthly retainer? Which I think is really the core question here, because it doesn't matter if the systems that you're built run on their N8N. Same way that, I recommend structuring your monthly retainer. You can do it either hourly as an alternative to paying you like an iterative hourly amount. What you do is you just get all that money up front for a fixed package of hours and then give them a discount. Or you could do as like I do, like a subscription thing where basically you're like hiring somebody to be a partner. And you're not explicitly defining the hours, but you're saying it's more about the deliverables that you provide. Definitely do other things, add in a bunch of deliverables, like unlimited maintenance. Let's say you're doing hourly. In addition, you add like unlimited maintenance with no hour cap or whatever on pre-existing projects. You do, Slack availability Monday to Friday between 12 p.m. PT and 2 p.m. PT. You do team training, you do like weekly strategy and consulting calls. These are things that are basically free. Like, there's things that you were basically going to have to do anyway, right? So you might as well throw those in there as like deliverables alongside your retainer and make it juicier and better. Okay, and then final question from Moby the Whale 3828 says, thoughts on the flood of new AI automation agencies? I mean, even Ty Lopez is pushing this business model now. LOL. Thoughts on the new competition landscape? Dude, I didn't know Ty Lopez. Oh, that makes sense. That's why they keep reaching out to me. It was like the second time somebody on the team reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to do a guest call in our community? And I'll be real, I just haven't really got back to them. I think I could, but man, so many people invite me in for guest calls here or there. And I just think about it strategically. Like from my perspective, does that make sense? Do you guys think that makes sense? Me doing a guest coaching call somewhere else? Like I've been invited to like probably 10 or 15, but I'm like, I guess I get some exposure, but then like, doesn't the creator of that group also just get all of my reputation and goodwill? Like I'm affiliated with them and then they get to say, we worked with Nick. Like unless they're like way bigger than me and I get a massive exposure to an audience of people, like maybe Ty Lopez is an exception. Does that really make sense? I don't think so. I really don't think so. But I might be off here. I don't know. I'm just trying to mull it through my head. Also, to be honest, a lot of this stuff's just distracting. Like these are just things that are outside of what I think I need to do in order to grow most effectively. I just have a couple of very simple buttons that I press. So if I just continue pressing those buttons, I tend to make a lot of money. And I think I'd be better served spending that time on my own community, which I already know. Like Maker School is now the largest revenue AI and automation community on planet Earth as of the time of this recording. It's probably going to change in like a week or two or whatever. But yeah, like it's currently the biggest one. So do I really need, other coaching things? I don't know. I don't think so. Okay, so that's that. Let us now do some brand stats. Cover my brand stat sheet. Ooh, what the hell is up, baby? If you guys don't know what that is, let me explain. All right, my YouTube channel is now at 60. Let's just refresh this actually. 63,675. Now, you will probably notice a big jump between yesterday and today, 599 difference between the 29th and the 30th. Why did that happen? It happened because I finally started posting again. How cool is that? Pretty sick, right? I think this thumbnail's pretty solid. I don't know if this is the highest performer. Let me get analytics. We're testing out a bunch of new thumbnail formats, but look at this. I already gained 233 subs from this specific video alone, not to mention the lift it's given everything else. Okay. It looks like it's actually kind of 50-50. Yeah. I figured the one that said OpenAI on it would do better. Shit, crap, I should have put a logo in there. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, I'm finally back to publishing. Hell yeah, right? Hell yeah, brother. I'm super stoked about it. The publishing is going well. We basically videos queued up every day for the next 5 days, so that's just going to keep going. And because of that, we're rising again, which is sick. Then just in terms of performance, this one is, I think this is 2 of 10 right now. We've already gotten like 12,000 views. I don't even think it's been 24 hours. Yeah, 12,000 views in 22 hours. If you'd have told me a few months ago that I'd get that many views, I would have probably laughed at you and been like, no, what are you, crazy? Anyway, that's all good. But the more important thing is my Instagram is 65,834 followers. So it doesn't matter how good. Did we go up 3,000? Oh my God. Is that the biggest growth day on record? Jesus, man. Yeah, it is. We hit the biggest growth day on record. Incredible. Anyway, none of this matters because the Instagram is just crushing unbelievably. Nice job. Great work, Shub. Okay, and then the daily updates channel, which is here, should be 2270. Is it really just 2270? Feels like it hasn't gone up that much. All right, 43. Humble, but some of the best things in life are humble, like myself. That works in a multitude of ways. Anyway, cool. Let's just talk a little bit of strategy. So, yeah, I don't really know how much time I have, to, continue doing the video stuff that I wanted to do. What I mean to say is I don't really know how much time I have, just thinking out loud here, to accomplish the big goal that I had, which initially started out as being the most respected person in the AI and automation industry. And it's very hard to quantify that, but I definitely feel like I feel like I'm there, or maybe I'm close to there. So I can't really quantify it, but I want to grow big, man. So anyway, now that I'm back to publishing, I would like to publish every single day for the next 300 days. So every day for the rest of the year, at least. Because here's the math that I was doing, all right? And I've come to realize that this actually holds pretty well. I did a bunch of analysis on like a bunch of channels, okay? And it's not just my channel, it's tons of people's channels. If we go back to my analytics here, I have 63,675 subs, right? Do you know how many, nope, 166. So I have 166 videos. So let's just do like some growth math, all right? When I started this, I was at like 0, and then I went to 3,500 or something like that. Since then, I've published 160, let's say 160 videos, because some of them are like really old. And I've gotten 63,375 subs. So why don't we just work out a very simple equation? What are my subs per video? Well, it's 63,375 divided by 160, right? So if we do that math, that's 396 subscribers per video. Meaning if we just multiply these two numbers together, for sanity check, we should get 63,360 approximately. Now, I started around 420 days ago. Okay? I have 160 videos published in 420 days. So that means that I have missed 260 days. Imagine if I had published a video every single day instead of every, on average, 3 days. Okay? I would have made 206, or let's just do the math, 420 times a minimum of 396. Keep in mind that this number goes up the more that you post and the older your channel is, okay? So the 396 subs per video probably be even more now, if I'm real. I would have made 166,320 subscribers. That's how many subscribers I would have had today had I continued posting daily like I wanted to initially. So what's the gap there? It's over 100,000 subscribers. If I was at 166,320, I would be like one of the biggest people in the space. I think my engagement would definitely be the biggest in the space. No problem. Is Vancouver Airbnb legal Reddit 2025? I got to clean up this search history, man. Pretty soon I'll be Itachi Uchiha memes and a supercut of Conquest and Invincible. Just like doxing my hobbies here. Anyway, 166,320 subscribers would make me like incredibly huge. And not only that, dude, that's almost 3 times as many people that I could pitch products to. Like theoretically, okay, Maker School's making right now around $90,000 US dollars per month, okay? I mean, if I just multiplied that by like 2.5, theoretically, I could have already been making $225,000 US dollars, assuming that like, scaling laws hold and everything is the same. So I guess what I'm trying to say is like, I've been pretty silly. I had a strategy that worked really well. Also, I just realized my battery broke, so that's good. Let's just let's hide this for now so you guys don't have to deal with this. I had a strategy that worked really, really well, okay? It was working incredibly, extraordinarily well. That strategy, to make a long story short, was there we go. That strategy, to make a long story short, was to just post literally every day. If I just posted every day, and if we're just making some very conservative mathematical assumptions here, like I would have achieved my goals that I wanted now, as well as a million bajillion other goals. So really what I'm trying to say is I just made my life a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I experimented with a variety of different approaches. I tried learning and using new tools, and NA10's fantastic and I really like NA10 and it's a great platform, but I had a winning formula essentially. And when you have a winning formula, you should just stick with that winning formula. Like as great as it is to experiment and do all this new stuff like I'm doing now, when you have a winning formula, just stick with the winning formula. So now at least I have a team available to me, and I'm well leveraged and well resourced that I should be able to stick to at least a video a day for the rest of the year. But going back in time, if there's just one major strategic error I think that I made, it's just not like committing to the thing that was working. It's not pressing the button that I realistically should have been pressing. So my buddy Matt Larsen, who has a YouTube channel as well, definitely just Google him and check him out. He makes way more money than I do per subscriber, or I don't know, like 5 or 10 or 15 times the amount or something like that, like an insane number. He's so much more monetized than I am. And he told me this like 5 months ago. He's like, "Hey man, you got something pretty good here. Like, why don't you just do more of it?" And I was like, "Oh, and like, what about this strategy? What about that strategy? I should try that strategy." And blah, blah, blah. He's like, "Dude, just keep doing what you're doing. Like, you just continue going, and you will be better than everybody else very soon." And I was like, I don't know about that, man. I want to do more strategy. I need to make this more complicated. The really crappy thing here is this is exactly what I tell everybody in my community all the time. I always say, like, hey, keep it simple, stupid, KISS, right? You shouldn't be, don't worry about like getting super complicated and trying to find the most effective strategy, because at the end of the day, you're still going to traverse the same distance. Okay. If you're trying to go from here to here, doesn't really matter how many things you go along the way. A much straighter line path would have been this, right? So just do this. Do the simple stuff. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I really should just take my own advice. That said, I can't really go back in time and change that, right? I mean, just kind of made my bed, so I have to lie in it. But that's a major strategic thing that I've just been thinking about, and I believe I discovered about myself in the last day or so. So yeah, I'm going to call it there. But hopefully that last point helps somebody here avoid making the same kind of mistake. And that looks kind of scary. And yeah, thank you guys very much. I'm going to go and plug my camera in, and I will see you guys all in tomorrow's video. Should I just make this the thumbnail? I don't think I'm going to make that the thumbnail, but I could. Catch you guys.